Welcome to Breaking Into Tech. We're doing a special episode with Gina. She's a Sabio Admissions Counselor. So I'm really excited to talk to you today about a little bit about who you are and the work that you're doing for Sabio. So let's hear a little bit about who you are to get started.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thanks, Amanda. I'm happy to be on the show with you. So like she said, my name's Gina. I'm an admissions counselor over at Sabio. I have quite a bit of background, several years working in admissions through undergrad and grad programs. Admissions is where I feel comfortable, and I love what the job offers. You get to connect with people every day. You're learning about what their dreams and goals are and being able to support them in that process. So, it's a great area. Some of my past, I actually have quite a bit experience in sales. I'm a World Series champion because I worked with the Dodgers when they won a World Series. Obviously, that's very cool, and I won a ring. But what was great about that experience is that they had some phenomenal sales training. So it gave me a great door to plenty of opportunities in the sales world, and that's a bit of my past as well, working for different companies. I had some experience working for a marketing company in sales. So yeah, just, kind of been all over, but ideally admissions is where I want to be. A bit of outside of the professional experience. I'm a big dog lover. I have a sweet chocolate lab, and my partner and I live in Milwaukee and enjoy, being out in the nature and outdoors. But what's great with software engineering is that it's remote work, and that's what I get as well. So it gives you that opportunity to be elsewhere and work remotely.
Yeah. Yeah, I love that your LinkedIn profile is so diverse. And I had seen that you worked for the Dodgers, but I didn't put two and two together that it was the year they won the World Series. So that's really
Yes,
cool.
it was. It's really cool. I have the ring up in my room, but yes, it was a great experience.
Yeah, that's really cool and so much diversity. And so you talked about like admissions is like your sweet spot and you really like it. What led you to work for Sabio? Because traditionally you had been working for schools, and I know Sabio is a school, but it's different than like a college. So
Mhm.
what made the shift happen?
So a lot of that shift started with the digital marketing company that I was working with prior to this position. It opened up the doors to software engineering. So obviously, my past was just this undergrad admission style, and then sales in entertainment and sports. But this last job showed me how important software engineering is. We're a marketing company for digital, so web design and SEO. And I saw Sabio was hiring. They were looking specifically for someone with, tech experience. So I had that, as well as admissions. And I've had several years of that. And then the big thing was the sales. They wanted some minor sales training. And I was like, this opportunity is perfect. It covers all of my professional experience. And yeah, I went through that interview process, and I'm so happy to be here with this program and organization.
Yeah, it sounds like check, check, check. Just like looking at your LinkedIn profile, it's like everything ties right into what you needed. And it's kind of a diverse skill set, admissions, tech, and then sales. And to have all three, I bet they were so excited when they found you. So,
Yeah, and that Dodgers thing does some work for me there with my resume. So
yeah,
being able to have that on there helps me as well.
yeah. Sabio's an LA based company, so that definitely probably worked to your advantage.
Exactly. I'll take it. I love this program. So however it
Yeah.
got me here, I'm excited to be here.
So now that we know a little bit about you, we're going to switch focuses and talk more about the work that you're doing for Sabio. And if you're
Okay.
watching either live or if you're watching the recording, feel free to ask questions in the comments because we'll try and answer them live. And then if it's a recording, we'll go back and answer them just to make sure that you have the information that you need. So now that we know a little about you, what are you doing at Sabio?
Great. So I'm an admissions counselor. I spend my day on the phone educating people of what it takes to become a software engineer. To do this program, you don't need prior knowledge of technology or software engineering. And I think that's really important to remind students while we're having these conversations. So really, I also like to think of myself as a cheerleader. When you're exploring this career path, it can be scary, especially if you're coming from a different industry. So you just want to encourage people, like, this is something you can manage. And yeah, that's what I spend my day doing, is having great conversations with new and diverse people from all types of industries, sharing how great software engineering is, and where it can take you, and specifically with our program. I love talking about Sabio. I mean, I think that's one thing I've learned from my previous work experience is, and just sales in general, like, you need to be passionate about what you're speaking on. And Sabio provides so much for someone who's trying to become a software engineer. And yeah, I feel passionate about that, and helping people understand what it takes and how to get there.
Yeah, so you said that you're on the phone, you have a lot of conversations with people. Is there like any common theme that you've seen resonating between like while people are looking? Like, is it feeling like they can't do it because they don't have a software engineering background, or is it something else that you see that maybe I'm not touching on?
Mhm. There's a few obstacles that scare people away from this industry, but I think the biggest thing is just, yeah, like you mentioned, they're pretty nervous about doing something brand new. It takes a leap of faith to jump into a new industry with no knowledge. Like, I can reassure someone, a majority of our students go through this program without any prior knowledge, but they need to hear that over and over, that you will be successful. And so I do think that's probably the biggest area that, in a lot of the conversations, is just sharing what software engineering is, of course, because if you don't know, that's a big industry, and educating you on what that looks like. But yeah, specifically with Sabio, also emphasizing the commitment, because it is a big commitment, and we're gonna provide you the resources to be successful. I have no doubt about that. We've been doing this for over a decade, and we're very knowledgeable on what it takes to be a software engineer and be successful. So it's really just reminding the students and making them feel comfortable with the decision process, and emphasizing that it's going to take a lot of commitment, and if you can do that, we will put in our effort and our side, and if we can meet there in the middle, we're going to set you up for a successful career.
Yeah, it's a two-sided approach. It's, a commitment from the students because it is a lot of hours and a lot of
Mm-hmm.
time. In the long run, it's not a lot of time because it's, just 17 weeks, but that's a lot, when you're looking at 17 weeks of your life. That's
Yeah, truly. And then 17 weeks of your life, and having to quit a prior job that's helping you, fund basic necessities. And yeah, so it's a big commitment, and we want them to feel comfortable with that commitment to us.
and kind of a scary leap if you're going into a new career
Mhm.
field, like, so you talked about, like, sometimes people don't even know what software engineering is, so, like, that'd be a good question to answer, like, what is software engineering, and what kind of jobs can you get once you graduate from Sabio?
So, software engineering is everywhere. Every company needs software engineers, especially as it grows, and the technology industry is just continuing to grow. So pretty much it's any company who's developing websites, who's has applications, who has some sort of system where they are, having transactions happen. Really, every business and every industry. There's no specific industry. Like, you could work in entertainment and sports, like I had. You could work in at the university level. Everyone needs software engineers designing products for them. um, with our program specifically, we teach full stack software engineering, and that's important because it's the highest caliber of a coding boot camp that's offered. It gives you the most opportunity when you graduate, and because you're with full stack, it's broken into front end development, middle tier, and back end development. And so we teach you all of those, and you have way more opportunities when you graduate to either be a front end developer, a back end developer, or full stack. So, that's brief. That's typically how I explain what this process looks like, and what the job opportunities are when you're finished this program.
Yeah, I like that, and I've interviewed a number of people, and it's always interesting to hear the different companies that they work for and how diverse they are, so it makes a lot of sense because I mean, even in my small business, I do coding in the background for my
Okay.
website, and I took a coding class in college, and I didn't know how important that was for my future, and so it really helps me, like, read and understand code, and so it makes sense, like, everyone needs that help, and if you have those basic tools, then you can do it, and I love that it's all aspects, front end, back end, in the middle, and full stack. That's really great.
Absolutely. Yes. Yeah, I agree.
So, what would you say your favorite part of your job is working for Sabio?
Yeah. I mean, obviously, I'm an extrovert, so I love being on the phone. I love talking to people, and just having casual conversations. That's what it comes down to: building trust with each other. So I think that's probably my favorite part of the job. And then watching these students that I've built this trust with go through the program and graduate, and make close to six figures when they leave, and just how successful and how happy they are with their decision. I think that's another piece to the job. And then something else, leadership's important. And I've always been wanting, true to my morals, my values. And I think it's incredible that we have a female person of color running our organization as the CEO. Like, that's huge. And that's something I value and I hope to see grow in the tech industry.
Yeah, Liliana's great. She's doing so much
Absolutely.
and she's such a leader in so many different communities. And
Hmm.
I was going to guess that it was people, but I love that you mentioned like it's not just the admissions aspect. You follow them like through their journey of and
Hmm.
create this community. And that's one of the themes that I've heard from both the people who work at Sabio and the graduates about how there's this community of people supporting you throughout the whole process. And it's just not like you're like, okay, you're admitted, you're a student now. I don't need to worry about you. It's this whole community of like keeping track of the students that you worked with and then watching them through their graduation and seeing how that happens. So I love that.
Yeah, it's cool because we're big on alumni support, and it's great to see those students from the start feeling nervous and scared to take this leap and then do it. And then, I followed up with a student recently last week who was halfway through the program and just checked in with them, and they're like, it's intense, but I'm excited. It's a lot of info, and it's just great to hear that and feel reassured with what your role is for this company.
Yeah, I just love hearing about how it's like a continual relationship. It's not
Hmm.
like a business transaction. It's a relationship where you keep checking in, you see how they're doing, and if they have questions or need support, you can help point them to where they need to go. So it's really great.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So, what resources does Sabio offer that you think people interested in software engineering should know about?
Hmm. Um, so, this could go a couple routes. I kind of want to speak on specifically the resources that people who are interested in just getting started, like just discovering this journey of software engineering, because I think those resources are extremely important, because you want to feel comfortable with this decision making. So if you're listening to this podcast, you are already taking advantage of a resource that we're providing. You're hearing from faculty member myself. You also hear from alumni. I think that's really important resource that we do an excellent job of, is providing a bunch of real life stories from alumni and hearing how they did this program. We have it's Instagram lives. We have success stories. We have these podcasts. And yeah, I think that's the biggest piece is while you're in this journey, the discovery phase. So we also provide free classes. This is something I highly encourage everyone to take, even if down the road, this isn't where you're going to be. I think it's really important that you try the free classes, because that will tell you if you like coding. And that's the biggest thing when you're committing to a program. You need to enjoy what you're doing. So I highly encourage the free classes. That's a huge resource that we offer. We also provide information sessions. So, while you're figuring this out, attend an info session, 30 minutes hearing from myself or my peers, as well as an alumni, to answer questions live. So when it comes to resources that Sabio offer while you're discovering, we provide tons. We have course sequences where you can learn about the languages. That's something I encourage all of the people I speak with. Explore these sequences, especially if you don't know anything about software engineering. Just Google HTML or Google CSS or .NET, any language that you're not familiar with. Start your research. And we provide a lot of these resources for you in this research phase. Now, when it comes specifically to the resources in our organization, we have an incredible career service team. We have an incredible instructor-led full-time program, and you're receiving a ton of support and a ton of resources within the program itself. Did that answer the
was
question?
great.
I know it went a little different
No,
route
that was
there,
great.
but
I was like, "Oh,
okay.
is there more?" That was great. I love that you talked some about the free courses, because I think those are so important. Earlier, I mentioned that I took a C++ class
Mhm.
when I was in college, and how much that's helped me in my business today. And even, like, you might try it out and say, "I don't really think this is for me," but the fact that you, like, take that class and you learn coding, it can really help you. Like you said, every business has some aspect that's touched by coding, and having that skill can really be a resource in your business. So I think those free courses are invaluable, no matter if you decide to do the program or if you just test it out and learn. And I'm like, maybe I should do a refresher course because
I agree.
I mean, it's free, so why not? But I
Yeah,
think
you're not
those
losing
courses
anything.
yeah, those courses are so helpful because, like you said, some people are nervous about, like, making the career switch, and it's not like they have to go into it blindly. You have these free
Mhm.
courses that can help people try it out, start to learn if this is something that they wanna do, and then take the leap instead of taking the leap and then trying it out and finding out it's not for them.
And that's not what we stand for at Sabio. Like, we don't want you to just take a leap into our program. Like, we want to set you up for success. We don't want to set you up for failure. And if you're just joining this program without obviously having a conversation with an admissions counselor to be upfront with you of what this dedication is going to take. Because it goes both ways. Like, we want to be successful in what we have to provide students, and then we want you to be successful in that journey.
Yeah. It's two-way street. It's a theme that you
Yeah,
keep
I
bringing up.
keep bringing that up. Yes, yes.
So, what makes Sabio stand out from other boot camp programs that are out there? Because you're not the only
Mhm.
one, there's other
No,
options.
this is one of my favorite questions. A lot of people ask this, and when they do ask this, I know that they are serious and that they are researching. So I think it's important to have a question like this come up. Um, but yeah, I typically say the same thing. There's 4 major areas within our program that I think are awesome and I think really stand out compared to other boot camps. So the first one is the full stack software engineering certificate. Obviously, full stack, like I mentioned earlier, is the highest caliber of a coding bootcamp offered. You want to make sure that that is offered in your research. You ask the boot camps, like, hey, are you offering full stack? Because it sets you up for more job opportunities. So that's number one. The second one is plenty of one-on-one time with instructors. This is huge. With coding, you're going to come to blocks. You're going to have some challenges. That's just how education works. And you want to have access to an instructor instantaneously. You don't want to have to be reaching out via email, trying to find a time that works best to connect. So we have a great system called the queue that you can hop in, and within a few minutes, you're live with an instructor, and they are helping you overcome whatever obstacle you had. This is huge. And I challenge everyone to ask other admissions counselors while they're doing their research. I'm like, how much one-on-one time are they going to provide you? Because that's where you're going to be successful. And a lot of students, once they hear that and hear our system, it's, you know, it's just attractive because it's what you need to be successful. The third piece is our real life project. Again, really, really important that a boot camp is providing this. We provide all of this and it's great. Our real life project sets you up for success. Every student in the last half of the program will have to complete an apprenticeship with a small business. You'll develop for that business either a website or an application, whatever product they're needing. And it's a great tangible item that you can throw on your portfolio and speak about during your interview process. It's also great for your soft skills. During that real life project, you have to demo the product to that small business. So it helps you practice speaking code in presenting on what you've created to someone in a higher position. So, you know, the real life project piece, huge, sets us apart, gives our students way more visibility during the interviewing process and you know, getting that resume to the front. The last piece is our career service support. So again, you know, most boot camps provide some sort of career service support. And ours is just incredible. I mean, we're going to provide you Lucas, who is a tech recruiter. He recruited for Amazon for several years, really knows what it takes, especially with a company that big. He knows how to get you visible and seen by employers. He'll help you with that interview process. You're going to have weekly meetings with them. Our career service support is constant. As soon as you start at Sabio, you're going to have workshops to complete with Nancy, our career counselor. She's running LinkedIn workshops, portfolio building, resume review, soft skill training. And then you have an alumni mentor on top of these two resources. And the alumni mentor is going to have mock interviews and be a great networking piece. So to sum up, you know, how we compare to other boot camps, I think those are the 4 areas that we excel in, and you know, put ourselves ahead of other boot camps. We're full stack. We're providing you one-on-one time. We are providing you an internship, apprenticeship, however you want to describe it, and then career service support. And we do well at all of those.
Yeah, and the queue is so important. I've heard students talk about it or graduates talk about how important it was. And not just that you get one-on-one support, but they would be like, I'm stuck. And then the instructor would be like, okay, what did you do to get here? Instead of being like, oh, I see what you did wrong. They make you as a student work through what you did. And oftentimes, as they would go through the process of talking about it, they'd be like, oh, I made a mistake here. And so sometimes it was just having someone to talk to that they could work through the problem. And that's the way it is in real life. When you're working on a job and you get stuck, you go to your coworker, you talk it out, and then you can figure out where the mistake is. And I think, you know, the internship provides that on an even greater level. So I think that's really important. Yeah. Those are really great. I love that you broke it down easy. 4 things, and they're all so important. So
Yeah,
that's really true. And you and you talked about the resources that Sabio offers after graduation, but was there anything else that you wanted to talk about to harp on a little bit more?
just the career service support. So you have access to them for life. Once you join Sabio, you will be able to come back if you know, need help with negotiating salaries down the road. If you're an entrepreneur yourself, start a small business, you could partner up with us and have some of our students develop for you in that internship phase. We can also help you find new jobs and all of that with the career service support. And then, of course, our alumni community. I think that's huge. We have alumni pages via Slack where there's lots of networking going on. It's a great way to find jobs in industries that you didn't know you wanted to be a part of and easily connect with that person and that point of contact who's working for that company. So it's, yeah, lots of great networking once you leave the program as well.
Yeah, networking is so important, and I think having that built-in network when you graduate is so important because networks take time to build, but if you
Mhm.
can, like, dive into a network that's already created, you already have this sense of community because you went through the 17-week boot camp, and so you it's kind of like the military, the military veterans have a lot of commonalities, and I think that Sabio's created a similar type of, where you've gone through something really tough and challenging and you understand, even finding a job and overcoming challenges in that aspect too. It brings you all together. Yeah.
Mhm.
So, if you had one more piece of advice to give someone who's considering a career in software engineering, what would you say?
Oh gosh, one advice. I'm not
One
one to
more
just leave
piece.
someone with
One more.
one piece of
Okay.
advice. Yeah, one
Then you
more
can
piece.
feel free
I
to do 3.
okay. Again, I think for me, and I'll say this over and over on all my calls, the commitment piece, and the two-way streak there. Like we're going to provide you those resources. You need to be able to commit the time and energy to a program like this, and you'll be successful. So that's really what it comes down to. If you're planning to start a career in software engineering, there's so much flexibility with that career path once you get to that phase. But prior to it, those 17 weeks in our program, commit the time, commit the energy, and we're gonna help you find that life changing career for you.
Yeah. And if you want to learn more, you can always go to Sabio's website and check out the info session. The link to that is in the description so that you can find it easily. And just thank you so much for all the information that you've shared with us, Gina. I really loved how you put it all together. It's all things that I've learned over the past few months doing these podcasts, but I loved how you put it all together.
Yeah, absolutely. It was a pleasure. Thank you for having me, Amanda.
No problem. All right. If you guys have any questions or need anything, feel free to put it in the comments or go to Sabio's website and check out an info session so that you can get more information about starting your career in software engineering. Thank you.